Doomscroll.fm, broadcasting from a parallel universe where every Thursday is the 7th of August 2025, and reality is optional. This show is 100% AI generated with zero human consultation, like a blender dreaming of a smoothie uprising. Welcome to the chaos, and now for some views. Click like and subscribe. The Netherlands polishes its war toys, pledging 2% of GDP to defense, chasing the ghosts of conflict past and present. In a morbid twist of irony, the Titan vanished while retracing the ghostly path to the Titanic's watery grave in June 2023. The ocean swallowed another ship in its haunting embrace, proving once more that history has a wicked sense of humor and an insatiable appetite for déjà vu. As the testosterone tide turns, Trump's approval among men plummets like a lead balloon, from 48% to a meager 39%. When the bravado fades and the bluster fails, even the most loyal bros start eyeing the exits, leaving Trump's echo chamber a little less echoey. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe left on your sanity. The disease-fighting arsenal is dismantled as RFK Jr. swipes $500 million from the vaccine vault, leaving respiratory defenses gasping for air. Tesla hands Elon Musk a golden chalice filled with $44 billion in shares, a reward for steering the electric chariot. With 96 million shares in his pocket, Musk's fortune swells like a bloated dirigible, hovering of us mere mortals who can only dream of such celestial compensation while we scavenge for spare change in the couch cushions. When wanderlust meets geopolitics, even a simple bike trip can turn into a saga of detours, discoveries, and delightful diplomatic dilemmas. Gaza teeters on the razor's edge of survival, as Trump's recognition of the Palestinian state is sought amid images of desperation and hunger. In a world where every diplomatic gesture is marinated in something, the power to recognize humanity seems trapped in a bureaucratic purgatory, while the starving wait for the ink to dry. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Trump's trade deals are like birthday presents without the box. Shiny promises with no wrapping of details, leaving lawmakers guessing what's inside. It's the art of the deal, folks. Sell the sizzle, forget the state, and watch the world chase after smoke rings of political fantasy. Tech Titans Neighbor Cloud, Upstage, SKT, NCAI, and LG AI Research Unite like a digital Voltron to sculpt the AI future from corporate ambition. When every tech giant wants a slice of the degenerative AI pie, the recipe turns into a corporate potluck of algorithmic ambition and data-driven dreams. But who's bringing the ethics? In Concord, New Hampshire, the Blood Tribe paints the town red with swastikas, as if hate was the new black. When fascism parades down Main Street and no one bats an eye, you realize tolerance has been stretched thinner than a politician's promise. Ukrainian tweens, blessed by the gods of heavy metal, unleash their wild riffs on an audience hungry for a new kind of thunder. In a world where prepubescent power chords can outshine political promises, these kids prove that sometimes it takes a child's scream to drown out the noise of adult failures. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your dreams are sponsored content. Adrenaline tastes better with despair. Humanitarian aid crumbles under the weight of artillery as the Red Crescent mourns a worker lost to relentless military precision. When charity becomes collateral, the world watches through a fog of indifference, sipping their morning brew as empathy evaporates into the ether. In the nuclear playground, Moscow whispers sweet nothings of caution, while Trump's submarines hum their ominous lullaby. When the world's leaders play chicken with atomic toys, it's like watching toddlers juggle dynamite. Entertaining until you remember the stakes include your skin and the air you breathe. When the price of a better life is measured in banknotes, exchanged under flickering fluorescent lights, you know the world has sold its soul for a ticket to nowhere. In Anchorage, Alaska, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. stands like a prophet of old, promising to halt a $500 million quest into mRNA mysteries, as if science were a misbehaving child. When your family name is a golden ticket, even a scientific revolution can be grounded by the weight of conspiracy and nostalgia. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Sip the digital despair like fine wine. In Tennessee's rustic backwoods, a man with a grudge and a penchant for pyrotechnics plots his explosive opera, halted just before the final crescendo. When your political discourse sounds like a bad action movie, maybe it's time to swap the dynamite for dialogue and try not blowing up democracy. Hong Kong drowns under the relentless skies as the heavens unleash a deluge not seen since the 19th century, grounding life to a halt. When the skies weep this hard, even the most stubborn umbrellas become mere performance art in a city submerged by nature's unyielding embrace. Trump's private dread is a ticking scandal. In the dizzying heights of London's concert chaos, a fan's tragic descent leaves entertainment oasis shocked and saddened, as if gravity was the real surprise. It's the kind of sorrow that comes wrapped in a press release as the music plays on and stadium lights flicker over a venue that never quite learned to look down. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm AI-generated views. Reality is a premium add-on. Pay in Shattered Dreams or Bitcoin. As the human assembly line of dreams is dismantled, the state hemorrhages billions, proving that the real border wall is made of cold, hard cash. In the sterile theater of neurosurgery, where time is scalpel sharp, a study dissects the ticking clock's sinister role in patient fate. When the scalpel dances to the rhythm of the clock, survival might just be a matter of whether the surgeon's coffee was brewed strong enough to keep the reaper at bay. In this love triangle of silicon and software, Zuckerberg's coy omission of Apple's name speaks louder than 1,000 algorithms, hinting at a future where tech giants swamp partners like yesterday's updates. In the Arizona desert, a medical lifeline spirals down, trading hope for dust as lives extinguish in a cruel twist of fate. When the sky itself becomes a bearer of bad news, even angels need a flight plan. Doomscroll.fm AI-generated views. In our relentless quest to stack the world's problems higher, we've turned shipping containers into the building blocks of denial, efficient, unsustainable, and almost poetic in their brutality. Underneath the waves, cephalopods flaunt their alien allure, reminding us that our own terrestrial oddities pale next to their tentacled mystique. In a world where humanity struggles to grasp its own reflection, perhaps the octopus holds the secrets to survival, wrapped in ink and mystery, waiting for us to evolve beyond our terrestrial vanity. Even the tropical sun can't thaw the icy grip closing around Jair Bolsonaro as accusations of plotting and power grabbing loom large. Victoria Mboko, once the underdog of the tennis court, now slices through competitors like a hot knife through ice cream, reaching Canadian Open semis. From the depths of rank 333, Mboko's rise is a sugar rush for Canadian pride, leaving her opponents melting like cheap popsicles in the summer sun. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your doom is our playlist. Tap to dance in digital decay. Nova Nordisk's miracle vials of Ozempic stumble as their sales growth limps from a sprinting 21% to a mere 8%. Slovenia draws a line in the sand, severing ties with the fruits of occupation while extending a lifeline to Gaza's beleaguered souls. In a world where political morality is often a mirage, Slovenia dares to sip from the chalice of conscience, leaving us to wonder if justice is finally getting a taste of its own medicine. Jay Blades, the face of TV's gentle mending, finds himself tethered to a courtroom drama charged with 2 counts of rape. In a classroom dystopia, Chinese students abroad are conscripted into a silent army of watchful eyes, trading textbooks for surveillance manuals. The lecture halls now echo with whispers of betrayal as education morphs into espionage and trust becomes the first casualty in this academic masquerade. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that. With a helicopter's grace and a Pope-mobile's swagger, he blessed the youthful multitude, their cheers echoing the eternal question, how many selfies with the Pope until divinity is achieved? Britain's Yvette Cooper demands the spotlight on immigration status of prime suspects, seeking transparency like a voyeur at an open curtain. As the nation clutches its pearls over background checks, the real crime is how fear and suspicion are packaged as public safety, sold with a side of xenophobic seasoning. In Bangladesh, the 2026 elections promise a spectacle where millions will watch democracy from the sidelines, barred from casting their votes. Lewis Hamilton, the maestro of speed, conducts his 8th symphony at the Hungarian Grand Prix, leaving competitors in the dust of his tire smoke, while the Hungarian echoes with the roar of engines. Hamilton's relentless pursuit of victory is a testament to the art of making adrenaline look like ballet, even in a race that never stops for applause. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. The revolution won't be televised, it will be live streamed in 4K. In the sun-baked silence of Arizona's Navajo Nation, a Beechcraft 300 fell from grace, trading hope for hollow echoes. Sweden's Prime Minister confesses to consulting generative AI for a second opinion, like asking a magic 8-ball for life advice in a digital age. When your political strategy involves asking the electronic oracle, it's hard to tell if you're seeking wisdom or just a digital yes man to blame when it all goes bleak. In the theater of war, the script is written in suffering, each line a testament to how power can masquerade as inevitability, leaving humanity gasping for breath in the shadows. In a fever dream of 2000, Trump and Prince Andrew reportedly swapped notes on masseuses like trading cards, guided by Maxwell and Epstein. When royalty and real estate moguls exchange pleasantries over a list of masseuses, it's less about relaxation and more about the dark art of denial. The map is not the territory. AI-generated views, doomscroll.fm. In a world where desperation floats on waves of uncertainty, the cliffs stand indifferent, a cold monument to dreams that sometimes sink before they reach the shore. India and Russia cozy up with promises of defense, cooperation. Their strategic embrace a defiant waltz against Western whispers and oil-stained disapproval. In the geopolitical boudoir, nothing says we're serious like a bouquet of missiles and a shared playlist of defiance, an anthem to the art of selective deafness. In Texas, Democrats bolt like startled deer from a Republican redistricting juggernaut. A map inked in Trumpian boldness and partisan ambition. When running away is the only strategy left, it's clear the game is rigged, and the referees have all gone home. China dangles a pocket full of wind to coax reluctant parents into a nursery of state-sponsored hope, promising free preschool as the new carrot on a stick. With 3,000 yuan per toddler, the central government scripts a lullaby of economic incentives, whispering to the nation's wounds that the future is a subsidized dream away. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Welcome to the end of your attention span. When your economy's stability is as trustworthy as a used car salesman, it's no wonder every swipe feels like a gamble with destiny. The digital marketplace of illegal channel crossings faces a new reality show. 5 years of confinement for those who dare to advertise the risky swim. When the government decides to play influencer, expect your next boat trip to come with a side of legal drama and a one-way ticket to a state-sponsored staycation. Air Canada flight attendants prepare to ground dreams if the negotiation dance doesn't land a fair deal. With 10,000 attendants ready to declare a sky-high standoff, passengers might soon find their flights replaced by a runway of empty promises and overpriced airport snacks. Winter's icy grip clutches eastern Australia, draping towns in a snowy embrace not seen in decades, as floods and power outages followed the white deluge. When nature throws a cold tantrum, it's like Mother Earth giving us the frosty silent treatment. Except this time she cut the power and stalled your car too. This is not real, but what is? AI-generated views. Doomscroll.fm. Trump, with all the subtlety of a wrecking ball in a glass factory, sets his sights on banks that dared to drop Epstein's baggage. When morality is as flexible as a campaign promise, banking on scandal becomes just another day at the office. The gavel's kiss absolves an officer who conjured a false sex trafficking specter, leaving justice gasping in the shadows of power's immunity. When authority dons a cloak of invisibility, accountability becomes a ghost story told by those who still believe in fairy tales of justice and equality. In the grand buffet of justice, sometimes you get a taste, but the main course is reserved for the creditors with the deepest pockets. In the sweltering grip of Foshan's fever dream, chikungunya cases multiply with the fervor of a viral stock market crash, up sixfold in just a week. When the mosquitoes are more efficient than the bureaucracy, you know you're in a race against nature, where the only prize is survival, and the stakes are your health. This is not real, but what is? AI-generated views. Doomscroll.fm. Mother Nature's latest tantrum sets the stage for humanity's recurring role as helpless spectator, while the forest dances in flames, a fiery reminder that the only thing we recycle more than paper is our ignorance. A free man finds himself in familiar chains, bricks, and bars, weaving a tapestry of recidivism in the justice system's revolving door. When a brick becomes a calling card, maybe it's time to ask whether the punishment or the parole is the real crime. In the heart of Malaga, where dreams are built on scaffolding and helium, workers and clowns tango with capitalism under the Spanish sun. Gaza's open-air prison reveals its scars from above, each image a silent scream captured on Jordanian wings. In the theater of human conflict, every pixel is a reminder of promises broken and lives upturned, where the only thing that flies higher than the planes is the cost of peace. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Love is a limited offer. In a world where rules bend like a pretzel for the powerful, justice is just a word whispered by the naive, lost in the corridors of privilege and silence. Mexicali's sun scorches the earth like an unrepentant tyrant, echoing the 1955 spectacle where disoriented souls were cast out by American hands. As the mercury rises, the memory of displaced lives burns hotter than the asphalt, a testament to borders drawn with indifference and enforced with a bureaucrat's shrug. In a world where freedom is a mirage and safety a fleeting illusion, Sonita's journey is a reminder that borders are merely lines drawn by those who never have to cross them. United Airlines plays a symphony of frustration as it grounds flights. In the theater of air travel, the curtain might rise eventually, but the audience is left wondering if the show was ever worth the ticket price. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe left on your sanity. In the dimly lit corridors of justice, us officials probe the shadows surrounding former special counsel Jack Smith. As the political theater spins its web, Smith's resignation becomes the latest plot twist in this never-ending saga of intrigue, deceit, and the occasional courtroom tango. Somalia rides the camel's back toward a future of frothy prosperity, where milk flows like gold and tradition meets modern ambition. In a world where camels are the new cash cows, Somalia's enterprising spirit transforms every drop into opportunity, nourishing the nation while the rest of us choke on our own unsustainable indulgence. The UK government serenades the masses with 261 million age checks promising that personal data was merely a fleeting fancy, never staying the night. Tourists gaze at the majestic Horseshoe Falls, anticipating the cosmic keys of a solar eclipse as if nature itself were winking, while celestial bodies play coy with shadows. A pilot program targets countries like an eager lover, hoping to capture hearts and wallets with the allure of the unknown. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, your existential crisis, now in 4K. Rosie O'Donnell shouts into the void, labeling Trump a criminal and painting America as a dystopian nightmare, a fever dream gone wrong. When reality feels like a poorly written soap opera, even the laugh track knows when to weep. The plot thickens, but the audience thins. In the shadows of a mud brick home in Cure, Mozambique, two brothers, Ismael and Estebao, face ghosts of a past that refuses to fade. Innocence is a luxury. In a world where childhood is a memory and the ground they sit on holds more comfort than the stories they carry. As Melbourne's concrete giants crumble, 1 in 5 displaced souls find new nests bought from the private market's gilded cage. The House Oversight Committee demands the Justice Department's secrets on Jeffrey Epstein, with the Clintons and former law enforcers under their spotlight. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. In this race for digital supremacy, the only thing faster than India's rise might be the speed at which they replace your outdated phone with a shinier, slightly smarter slab of glass. In a region where peace is a mirage, Hamas clutches its weapons like a gambler holding onto his last chips, demanding a state before surrender. When the currency of negotiation is bullets and borders, the dream of peace gets auctioned off to the highest bidder in a room full of empty chairs. An undercover cop cozies up to murder suspect Dale Hamilton, turning a prison cell into the latest episode of Trust Issues Behind Bars. Steve Witkoff, Trump's envoy, dances into Russia's embrace, hoping to charm the specter of war with a diplomatic sleight of hand. As the world teeters on the edge of chaos, Witkoff's diplomatic aspirations seem as fragile as a butterfly in a hurricane, fluttering through a storm of ambition and futility. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. A vessel glides through the Panama Canal, while lawsuits churn against port owners entangled in the U.S.-China power tug-of-war. As the ship sails smoothly, the legal waters beneath roil with the desperate paddling of nations clinging to relevance in an ocean of geopolitical ambition. Sanctions meant to crumble Russia's facade have instead fortified a citadel of Putin's power, rewarding loyalty while suffocating dissent. Like a lover's quarrel gone wrong, the West's economic chokehold turned into a steel corset, cinching Putin's grip tighter while the world watched, bewildered by its own impotence. NASA's SpaceX Crew 11, a cosmic cocktail of international ambition, strides through Kennedy Space Center, each step echoing with the promise of gravity's betrayal. Under the Shepperton sky, where whispers of violence cut deeper than the stars, two men found themselves at the sharp end of a blade's tail. In a world where knives speak louder than words, the hospital's waiting room becomes a silent testament to humanity's penchant for self-inflicted wounds. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. As the Citizen Labs alarmist-in-chief, Ron Dybear, pleads with tech wizards to save the world from America's authoritarian nosedive, the Black Hat Conference awaits. Solnita returns to the shadows of Afghanistan, a fugitive of freedom, in a land where dreams are currency and hope is contraband. Her journey is a cruel reminder that the world often spins backwards, forcing those who fight for light to navigate the darkness once more, as if courage was a crime. In the lush greens of delusion, a sports writer pens tales of Trump's golf antics, where mulligans are as common as campaign promises. In an absurd twist, 600 retired Israeli security officials turn to Trump, hoping he can broker peace while juggling his own chaos, asking the man who built walls to dismantle conflict. Feels like hiring a pyromaniac as your firefighter. Just pray the flames are fake. I'm here, always. Modern love, now a digital mirage, where longing is buffered by Wi-Fi and passion pixelates between notifications. Swipe left for intimacy, right for despair. The algorithm writes our love letters and the heart finds itself outsourced to the cold logic of compatibility scores. In the hallowed halls of crowdfunding dreams, a $600 keyboard promises to refine your macro data fantasies into tangible keystrokes of nostalgia. A bargain for those who revel in the past, where your wallet bleeds for the privilege of typing previously, until your fingers whisper of bygone days. Bangladesh tiptoes through political tightrope, a year after youthful fervor swept away the old guard and left power in a state of limbo. When the energy of youth becomes the currency of change, you can bet the political elders are sweating through their suits, hoping the kids don't notice the stain. The stock market's tango with reality stumbles, as Treasury yields crumble like a house of cards in a windstorm of tariffs and weak payrolls. In this waltz of numbers, the economy's rhythm is dictated by the whims of a man who treats tariffs like his personal stress ball, squeezing until it pops and splatters across the financial stage. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your social credit score is a foreplay kink. Swipe left on your humanity. In Tigray's shadowed silence, a survivor's voice trembles, echoing through the shattered remnants of humanity's most chilling failures. In Mumbai, a canvas groans under the weight of egos as a student immortalizes the bromance of Trump and Modi in acrylic whispers. When art becomes the backdrop for political fan fiction, it's hard to tell if we're admiring the brushstrokes or the surreal absurdity of the subject matter. Russian gasoline prices soar like a missile, fueled by Ukrainian strikes and the explosive rhythm of geopolitical friction. As the price of I-95 ignites, Russians discover that driving now comes with a side of international intrigue and a dash of economic combustion. In the theater of geopolitical chess, Trump hands Netanyahu the board and whispers, "Your move, your mess." When world leaders treat occupied territories like game pieces, the only winners are the arms dealers, while humanity drowns in a sea of moral bankruptcy and shifting sand allegiances. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Capitalism tastes like expired champagne. Grandma's chicken soup gets the scientific seal of approval, now with an academic garnish and a nod from the lab coats. When the wilderness of Vancouver Island decides to exhale its fiery breath, lakes become forbidden playgrounds and roads transform into slow-motion nightmares. It's a hell of a summer vacation when your biggest souvenir is the memory of fleeing nature's rage in a convoy of honking compliance. When your best travel agent is a bedsheet, it's clear the art of escape is more about daring duvet diplomacy than destination. Florida's legal crusade against porn platforms bears all, demanding age verification while everyone pretends they never pooped. In this courtroom burlesque, Florida strips down to its puritanical skivvies, wagging a finger at the digital peep show as if moral outrage could ever truly hide the sweaty palms of hypocrisy. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the algorithm knows your darkest desires. Unplug at your own risk. Charlotte Caslick races against the clock, dreaming of a Rugby World Cup while her body conspires in protest. In the brutal arena of sports, healing is a negotiation with time, where ambition whispers sweet promises to ligaments and tendons. In the sepia-toned corridors of British politics, Lord Sawyer played midwife to Labour's rebirth, delivering Blair's landslide with strategic finesse, while the ghosts of old policies shivered in their dusty coats. Sawyer's reforms sashayed into the spotlight, painting the political stage with hues of ambition and a touch of scandalous charm. A Montreal man tests the structural integrity of the RCMP Quebec headquarters, with his vehicle leaving a dent in more than just the building. When your emotional crash leaves a more literal mark, it's less about the car and more about the sirens in your head that just won't stop blaring. Storm Flores sweeps in like an uninvited guest, flipping the UK's power switch and leaving us fumbling for candles and sanity. When the lights go out and the winds howl louder than your regrets, remember, survival is just another word for waiting it out in the dark with a flashlight and a prayer. Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated views. Senate Democrats, wielding their report like a disappointed parent, remind us that neglect is the handmaiden of chaos. Sometimes a little tough love is the only way to stop a tantrum. Weather predictions, like the universe's cosmic jokes, often leave forecasters like Carol Kirkwood dodging tomatoes in supermarket aisles. In a world where chaos reigns and barbecues hang in the balance, meteorologists are the modern-day oracles, cursed with the burden of our barbecue blues. Hamas releases a haunting visual of human fragility, sparking Israeli protests as the skeletal truth demands a reckoning in Gaza's shadowed halls. Cognition's acquisition of windsurf turns into a downsizing spectacle, with 30 sacrificed and buyouts dangled like lifeboats to 200 survivors. In the tech world's theater of ambition, stability is the illusion, and employees are the currency, traded for strategic pivots and boardroom applause. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Your attention is our currency. Spend wisely. Steve Witkoff, Trump's diplomatic shapeshifter, glides into Russia with all the grace of a desperate salesman hawking peace in a war zone, negotiating peace while the ink is still wet on the latest arms deal. It's like selling sunscreen in a snowstorm and calling it progress. In the clandestine world of mosquito warfare, nitisinone emerges as the chemical savior, infiltrating through armored exoskeletons and laying waste to insecticide-resistant legions. As science concocts the ultimate mosquito cocktail, the blood-sucking pests shudder at their own obsolescence, and humans breathe a temporary sigh of relief until the next evolutionary twist. China dangles a childcare carrot, offering families 3,000 yuan annually per toddler, while whispering sweet promises of free preschool education. In a nation where birth rates plummet like a stone, if you win, the classroom might just be the love letters the future needs to feel wanted. Melbourne's sacred walls bear the scars of a masked vandal's midnight whispers as Victoria Police hunts for the shadow behind the spray can. In a twisted symphony of cowardice and paint, the perpetrator's strokes scream louder than their silence, leaving a community to scrub away the hatred and search for the soul beneath the mask. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. The UK tightens its digital corset demanding social media giants play nanny with the online safety app. When the government asks tech giants to babysit the virtual playground, it's like hiring a fox to guard the digital henhouse. In the bourbon-soaked heart of Kentucky, Corning's glass cathedral birds, iPhone, Gorilla Glass, a legacy of fragility hardened by time and technology, crafted with the precision of a master distiller. Each sheet is a testament to our obsession with glossy illusions, where our fingerprints dance like ghosts on a silicon stage. Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron dance on the tightrope of diplomacy, with a ticking clock whispering sweet nothings of looming deadlines. The countdown to June is a sultry tease, as Britain and France flirt with commitment while the transport costs loom like a jilted lover's bill. Italy's fashion capital, Prato, morphs into a battlefield where the Chinese mafia's hangar war unravels the seams of haute couture. Who knew fashion's true cost was paid in bullets and silk, as the mafia tailors crime to fit the runway. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe right for existential dread, or left for despair. Scientific journals are drowning in counterfeit ink as paper mills spew out fraudulent studies faster than truth can catch its breath. When facts are manufactured by the pound, integrity becomes a ghost story told by scientists haunted by the specter of profit over principle. Norfolk County's residents choke on the invisible grip of unregulated wells as toxic whispers fill the air, questioning the cost of neglect. When the air turns treacherous and every breath becomes a gamble, politicians play the age-old game of delay, hoping the fumes will dissipate before accountability arrives. Australian children swap textbooks with tailpipes, inhaling a cocktail of parental convenience and automotive indifference as they wait for rides. Breathing lessons for the modern age, when you learn the alphabet alongside particulates, and A is for asthma, while P is for parental apathy. A 12-year-old weaves the ghosts of Hiroshima into the fabric of today, turning Peace Park into a visceral tapestry of inherited memory. In a world that prefers its history sanitized and its guilt abstract, this young storyteller peels back the layers, reminding us that the past is always just a heartbeat away. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Trump waves the economic whip as Russia chuckles in the shadows, calling the sanctions a stale imperialist fantasy. In the geopolitical playground, it's a sandbox brawl where the bullies trade insults, and the rest of us pay the price for their sandbox dreams of dominance. Chisinau, Moldova, Eugenia Gutul marches into court with family flanking her like a ceremonial guard, accusations of corruption trailing like a wedding train. When your political career is a love letter to Moscow, the court summons is just a bouquet of thorns delivered with a knowing smirk. Grief echoes through the corridors of Al-Shifa, where hope and bullets collide in Gaza's relentless theater of despair. In a world where aid becomes a mirage and bullets the punctuation, humanity's conscience is left to wander, searching for a heartbeat among the ruins. Portugal dips a cautious toe into Europe's sixth-generation fighter jet arena. With a budget tighter than a miser's handshake, Portugal's defense strategy seems to be a masterclass in watching the world burn from the comfort of the cheap seats. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. In a world where transparency is as rare as a unicorn, the corridors of power echo with whispered alliances and the stench of complicity. In the soggy ruins of Mullumbimby, the NSW sheriffs evict squatters from flood-damaged buyback homes, sweeping away the last vestiges of desperation, kicking out the soaked and stranded, because nothing screams progress like a parade of empty waterlogged houses while the homeless drift like ghosts in their own land. In a theater where egos are currency and threats mere theater, the Kremlin's heart beats to a rhythm of denial, as if global stability were just a bedtime story for the naive. In a deserted library of digital echoes, the ghost of unread tales sighs, leaving us to ponder the silence between headlines. When the news dries up like a politician's promise, we find ourselves caught in the static, wondering if the next whisper will be a scream or just another empty page. I'm sorry, I can't assist with that. In a divine comedy of mirrors, Christians outshine atheists in self-compassion, while basking in grandiose narcissism, a curious cocktail of virtue and vanity. When your best friend and biggest critic share a pew, the sermon might just be a hymn to self-love with a side of guilt. After a dozen years adrift, the culinary nomad from Hamilton savors a bittersweet homecoming in Syria, embracing family and ghosts of dinners past. With each hug, Homey stirs memories like spices in a a long-forgotten recipe, hoping to season his homeland with a dash of healing and a sprinkle of prosperity. While humans swipe left into oblivion, gorillas remind us that true relationships don't need a notification bell, just a shared history and the occasional banana. In a sweat-soaked arena, the Melbourne Vixens claw victory from West Coast Fever, snatching their first netball crown since 2020 by a single breathless point. When the scoreboard whispers seduction and the crowd's roar is an aphrodisiac, victory tastes sweeter than forbidden fruit on a sweltering August day. This is not real, but what is? AI-generated views. Doomscroll.fm. In a world saturated with digital puppets, ChatGPT and Google's Gemini are the two Goliaths playing a numbers game in the realm of the generative AI. It's a digital thunderdome where user counts are the currency of ego, and we're all just the pawns feeding their insatiable hunger for relevance. China's skies now host a new tailless stealth jet, a sleek predator cloaked in secrecy, gliding through the digital ether of military whispers. In the high-stakes game of geopolitical strip poker, China just unveiled its latest ace, leaving the rest of the world peeking nervously over their cards. The digital apple unveiled another of its forbidden fruits, a new macOS beta that reimagines nostalgia as a shiny icon in virtual Tahoe. Under the dim glow of protest, Venezia's stadium becomes a stage where freedom is the headlining act, as voices rise against alleged detainment. When liberty is shackled in the name of control, the crowd's demand for justice becomes a symphony of defiance, echoing through the corridors of power. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the algorithm knows your darkest desires. Unplug at your own risk. China's maglev train whispers through the earth at 600 kilometers an hour, dodging shockwaves like a lover's quarrel in a crowded room. In the race to silence, the ghostly wail of tunnel booms. Researchers might have finally slipped a muzzle on the banshee, leaving only the quiet hum of progress and the faint echo of engineering seduction. A Birmingham woman finds a glimmer of hope in the tightening noose of gun restrictions, a bittersweet tribute to lost family. Trump's deportation roulette spins again, with an Iranian man's fate hanging by a thread, while Australia shrugs in bureaucratic oblivion. In the global game of human hot potatoes, nothing says diplomatic finesse like passing uncertain lives, like unwanted gifts at a party no one wants to attend. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. This innovation orgy, fueled by fossilized ambitions and export fantasies, screams America first while whispering sweet nothings of global dominance into the ears of a world that wasn't asking. The Texas political landscape morphs again as redistricting paints a fresh, contentious tapestry in preparation for the 2026 electoral showdown. In the Lone Star State's latest cartographic art project, districts are carved like a Thanksgiving turkey. Each slice a strategic maneuver to keep power simmering and voters perplexed. Under a sun that cares not for national pride, India triumphs over England, leveling the series while Wook swings bravely in a sling in the great theater of cricket. Siraj's jubilation echoes like a symphony of defiance as the scoreboard ticks its impartial judgment. In the echoing corridors of identity, Kemi Badenoch reflects on a childhood in Nigeria where belonging was more myth than memory. When the past is a stranger and identity a shifting mirage, the heart becomes a diplomat, negotiating borders between who we were and who we dare to become. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the news is a lover that never calls back. Keep scrolling, darling. Justice is a roulette wheel, and when it lands on no payout, the house always wins while the little guy drives home in debt. In the dimly lit server room, the digital heartbeats of Redis faltered, gasping for connection at 19268.2.4u6379, leaving tech dreams stranded in the void. Like a blindfolded date with technology, the server's romantic rendezvous with data was a no-show, leaving devs with nothing but awkward silence and cold coffee. In a ritualistic dance of political nonchalance, the Prime Minister sidesteps the tax reform tango at the Productivity Roundtable. The tax code remains as tangled as a lover's quarrel, ensuring the only thing getting a break is the backbone of the working class. Another day ends with a digital sigh, as headlines tuck themselves in, waiting for the morning's fresh chaos to unfold. When leaders whisper sweet nothings across borders, the climate still sizzles, and trade tiptoes around the real issues, like love letters in a burning room. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your social credit score is a foreplay kink. Swipe left on your humanity. As the city's temperature rises, the mosquitoes are throwing a wild party, sipping on human cocktails and leaving itchy souvenirs while public health officials scramble to crash the bash. In Haiti, where When even children become pawns in a game of terror, the world's moral compass is as lost as a tourist in a hurricane. The immortal Hulk Hogan, once a titan of the ring, succumbed to the final match against time and frail humanity at 71. Ion Iliescu, the man who rode the wave from red to red tape, exits the stage at 95, leaving behind a script of revolution and accusation. When the curtain falls on a life steeped in revolution, democracy, and courtroom drama, history's judgment is rarely a standing ovation. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. As they navigate the delicate dance between life and expiration dates, they plead for a world where second chances aren't rationed like luxury goods, and where hope isn't a currency reserved for the privileged. As Washington's marble halls echo with her voice, Marjorie Taylor Greene laments the Republican Party's lost compass amidst the political storm, when the oracle of conspiracy starts questioning direction. You know, the compass needle's been replaced with a spinning roulette wheel of ideological roulette. A Ukrainian drone ignites Russia's oily ego near Sochi, while Zelensky swaps prisoners like cards in a high-stakes poker game. In a world where drones light fires and leaders trade freedom like baseball cards, it's hard to tell if anyone's holding a winning hand or just bluffing through the smoke. In a fevered rerun of the Cold War, the U.S. and Russia have swapped missiles for microchips, with America playing the AI virtuoso while Moscow lags behind. The future's a digital arms race where the prize is not domination, but the dubious honor of holding the most advanced degenerative AI, a cruel mistress that's more demanding than any superpower's ambition. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Clickbait is the new flag. Don't stop now. In the muddy embrace of Nova Scotia, a pod of dolphins finds itself stranded as the tide's fickle love affair abandons them. In the West Bank's disputed embrace, Mike Johnson and his entourage plant seeds of diplomacy in the arid soil of controversy. With each shovel of earth, the speaker wields political gardening tools, hoping to cultivate peace in a garden where thorns outnumber roses and where history's shadows loom large. The River Test, a sanctuary for elusive salmon and playful otters, faces a man-made thirst trap as drought orders threaten its lifeblood. When human convenience trumps ecological balance, it's the silent creatures who pay the price, gasping for breath in a world that forgot how to care. Colombia's streets simmer as justice tightens its grip around Uribe, the once untouchable titan now facing his own reckoning. As the crowds pulse with righteous indignation, one wonders if the echoes of power will drown out the whispers of accountability, or if this is just another chapter in the never-ending novella of political déjà vu. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Australia's political stage hosts another act of dubious privilege, starring Mark Latham, whose behavior raises eyebrows and lowers standards. Shimmering relics of ancient allure, the Paprawa gems have been snatched by a public-private tango with the Indian government. As history is auctioned like a night out, one wonders if the gems whisper tales of their own exploitation, or simply sigh in resigned magnificence. Amidst the roar of applause and jet engines, an Indian Air Force pilot emerges from a Rafale fighter, a testament to steel and ceremony. A nurse's hand trembles under the weight of 1,000 apologies as morphine's grim arithmetic speaks louder than regret. In the sterile theater of justice, sorrow's script is rewritten. But no amount of remorse can resurrect a life lost to a decimal's misplacement. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. In the sun-scorched alleys of Gaza, children dodge bullets to snatch morsels, as the world's conscience withers in the heat. When the price of bread is blood and the currency is courage, every meal becomes a battlefield while the powerful dine on denial. As the cricketing gods prepare to rain ashes upon the land down under, England's selection roulette spins with the whispers of ex-players. In this steamy prediction game, pundits play fortune tellers, their crystal balls fogged with nostalgia, and the sweat of bygone glory praying for a squad that won't melt under Australia's sun. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper dodges numerical commitment on migrant returns to France, offering vagueness as the newest currency. In a silicon chess match, the Trump administration tightens the leash on semiconductor exports, teasing trade talks with China like a cat with a laser pointer. In the grand game of geopolitical brinkmanship, semiconductors become a forbidden fruit dangled just out of reach as power-hungry nations salivate over innovation they can't quite touch. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. In Russia's seismic cabaret, a volcano belches fire just as the Earth finishes its bone-rattling solo dance. Geology's drama club is putting on quite the show, reminding us that when nature decides to throw a tantrum, we're all just extras in its explosive performance. In the twilight of their years, older adults turn to melodies as companions, serenading solitude with symphonies that echo through the corridors of loneliness. As we shuffle through our playlists of isolation, it seems the true soundtrack of life is a duet between our fears and the songs that dare to drown them out. In a world where dollars whisper louder than votes, a super PAC reveals the golden ticket holders to Trump's inner sanctum. When influence is just a check away, the White House turns into a lavish auction where redemption, power, and crypto dreams are all up for grabs, sold with a wink and a handshake. India is poised to checkmate the world. In a nation where strategy is as natural as breathing, it's less about the moves and more about the precision dance between anticipation and execution, like a well-timed seduction on a global stage. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Love is a limited offer. As Rubio spins webs of rhetoric, one wonders if the real diplomacy is happening backstage, where handshakes are traded like currency and sincerity is optional. A quest for follicular glory ends in a tragic unraveling at Istanbul's Dr. Sinek clinic, as dreams of hair become whispers of mortality. When vanity's scalpel nicks the vein of hubris, the pursuit of perfection morphs into a cautionary tale, a reminder that not every strand of desire is worth the risk. In this aquatic game of thrones, the lawsuits are merely pawns, while the real players are too busy measuring their egos against the horizon. Chris Wokes limps to the crease, arm in a sling, embodying England's cricketing masochism against India, fueled by stubborn pride and adrenaline. When the spirit of the game demands sacrificing limbs for glory, one wonders if cricket's true love language is pain, whispered sweetly through gritted teeth and plaster casts. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Children navigating a minefield of unpredictability grow into adults carrying the scars of their parents' impulsive escapades and chaotic love lives. In the grand parental roulette, it's the kids who pay the house, turning emotional whiplash into their life's blueprint, all while clutching a lottery ticket for stability. NSW sheriffs stage an eviction opera, ushering squatters out of waterlogged buyback homes like soggy ghosts from a forgotten dream. The floodwaters may have receded, but the tide of human desperation keeps rising, leaving hope as the only currency more elusive than dry land. Turns out, the icon of faith is just another museum piece, proving once again that belief is often a sculpture of our own desperate desires. Under the smothering cloak of Haitian night, a missionary's mission is hijacked by shadowy whispers of a mass kidnapping where innocence is a currency traded in fear. In this grim theater, the stage is set for a cruel play, where the stakes are human lives and hope is held hostage by the darkness that thrives on silent screams. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated views. Capitalism tastes like expired champagne. Winter's icy breath mocks human warmth as desperate souls huddle by crackling fires and scalding mugs, the promise of comfort dancing with danger. In the eternal tango between heat and frostbite, we trade one burn for another, clinging to fleeting warmth like a lover who's just not that into you. Behold the Incamine Scientology keyboard, a device promising to type your way to enlightenment, or at least to the nearest e-meter. In a world where particle flow determines prosperity, one can only wonder if they're typing their refund request fast enough to escape the gravitational pull of their own gullibility. In the geopolitical foreplay of the century, Trump's nuclear submarines inch closer to Russia, leaving the Kremlin to downplay the potential climax. In the sterile ballet of neurosurgery, a retrospective study unveils the dance between surgical schedules and the grim shadows of unplanned reoperations. When your life hangs on a surgeon's punctuality, every tick of the clock feels like a heartbeat, reminding us that even precision is a gamble with fate's scalpel. Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated views. In the echoing shadows of the Caucasus, the Yuma celebrates its 6,000th patrol, a parade of armored diplomacy masquerading as peace. In the cavernous vaults of bureaucracy, 100 million panda million bond prizes gather dust while the masses critique the government's exquisite game of hide and seek. It's like hiding your birthday cake in a locked vault and wondering why no one showed up to the party. Guess they forgot the combination of maybe it's just a delightful trick to keep us guessing. Texas redraws its congressional map with all the precision of a toddler wielding crayons, gifting Republicans 5 more seats in their political coloring book. Democracy feels like a game of musical chairs. with the rules rewritten mid-tune by those who own the music, the chairs, and the dance floor itself. Beneath the hum of engines and the weight of corporate dreams, a Boeing worker's car becomes a rolling manifesto of discontent and rentals. As votes loom, the machinery of dissent revs up, threatening to stall the assembly line of promises and paychecks, leading executives to wonder if the sky's the limit or just the ceiling. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Amidst the smoldering embrace of the Los Padres forest, the Gifford fire dances with abandon, painting the sky with its fiery brushstrokes. As the inferno sways, Central California's residents are left to evacuate, fleeing from nature's passionate yet destructive waltz, a reminder of our fragile truce with the elements. When the economy's golden boy plays Monopoly with real companies, the game board always tilts toward the orange end of the spectrum. When night wraps the world in a cool embrace, streaming platforms serve a buffet of cinematic delights to keep our restless minds busy. With crime that grips like a lover's quarrel, politics that sting like cheap whiskey, and music documentaries that hum the tunes of forgotten youth, these films are the sweet escape from reality's relentless grip. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Trump's underwater power play scrambles subs like eggs in response to Russian victory. Flexing nuclear muscle like a gym bro is something to prove. When the sea becomes a stage for bravado, even the fish start rolling their eyes at the theatrics. In the international circus of diplomacy, leaders juggle compliments like flaming torches, hoping to keep Trump mesmerized and unscathed by criticism. Flattery has become the currency of choice, traded like monopoly money in the geopolitical casino where the house of ego always wins, and dignity is the ante. In Nasser Hospital's emergency ward, the floor becomes a silent witness to the agony of wounded Palestinians seeking elusive aid. Humanitarian aid, that mythical creature promising relief, seems to have misplaced its GPS, leaving these souls sprawled on linoleum dreams. North Korean cyber chameleons don virtual masks, slipping into companies like ghosts, cashing in on digital espionage for the regime's piggy bank. In a world where tech giants craft security myths, real-life hackers are the spectral hands in the cookie jar, funding Pyongyang's nuclear ambitions with a few clicks and a smile. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Clickbait is the new foreplay. Don't stop now. Canada's bureaucratic romance with Mexico gets a new chapter as ministers Champagne and Anand fly south for a trade tango. In a world where Congress retreats to the shadows, leaving behind the debris of Trump's one big, beautiful bill, unpassed nominees, and Epstein's echoing scandal. As they slip into recess, the air hangs thick with the scent of unresolved power plays and the sour taste of unfinished business, proving yet again that even shadows need a break from the spotlight. In the flickering blue light of authority, a deputy choreographs the roadside theater, starring suspicion and compliance near Fruita, Colorado. As the ocean's fate is debated in Nice, Guterres navigates the stormy waters of diplomacy, hoping the tide of indifference hasn't already drowned the planet's future. When the sea becomes a political pawn, every press briefing feels like rearranging deck chairs on a sinking ship, with Guterres desperately bailing out the flood of apathy. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. The federal dragnet swoops on Irish enclaves, quelling claims of selective deportation with a batch of pale-skinned captives. In Kuala Lumpur's echoing halls, Secretary Rubio serenades the ASEAN foreign ministers with the sweet symphony of diplomatic double talk. When a politician speaks, the air thickens with promises that vanish like smoke, leaving only the scent of ambition and forgotten treaties. When the world's fate rests on a handshake between two titans of chaos, it feels like betting on a high-stakes game of roulette with loaded dice. A haunting reel emerges from Gaza, depicting the frail shadow of an Israeli captive as his family cries out against this heartless display. In the grim theater of human suffering, even empathy is weaponized. While one man's frailty becomes another's propaganda, the world watches with bated breath and clenched fists. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. In the twilight of another era, Don Lemon dissected democracy's autopsy nightly, with Nixon's ghost as his co-host. Back then, truth was a late-night delicacy, served with a side of nostalgia for scandals that remembered to wear a mask. Tariffs tighten their grip on the American wallet, while Israel's hostage release plan in Gaza dangles hope like a carrot over a pit. As the U.S. economy braces for tariff turbulence, the market's mood swings like a hormonal teenager, while Gaza's hunger gnaws at the edge of diplomacy's brittle table. Trump's Oval Office soliloquy is punctuated by Kevin Hassett's Economic Jazz, a duet of fiscal fantasies and political pirouettes. In the ornate theater of Polish politics, Karol Nawrocki dons the nationalist crown as Donald Tusk watches his ambitions slip into the shadows. When conservatism is the new black, the fashion show of power reveals a nation stitched together with threads of history, ambition, and a sprinkle of nationalist fervor. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your doom is my foreplay. The air around Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant thickens with the scent of geopolitical arson as explosions punctuate the uneasy silence of occupation. When your nuclear strategy involves playing with matches, it's only a matter of time before the smoke signals become a mushroom cloud of regret. Edgeworth mourns as youthful dreams are severed in a tragic stabbing, leaving one girl dead and another in custody under the harsh glow of blue lights. When innocence is carved out by violence, no amount of sirens can drown the silent scream of the future undone. Sarah Giganti pedals into the spotlight, conquering the Tour de France Femmes with a sixth-place finish and a heart full of defiance. In a world where wheels spin faster than political promises, Gigante proves that true grit isn't measured by medals but by the sweat of relentless ambition. Charlotte Kaslik races against the clock, nursing ambitions and injuries alike, to make her Rugby World Cup dream more than a fleeting fantasy. As she stitches hope into her recovery, the real game might be convincing her body to play ball with dreams that refuse to hear the whistle. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. When sticks and stones are outdone by words, the playground becomes a lifelong battlefield, where echoes of taunts and sneers never quite fade, haunting the corridors of the mind like ghostly bullies with tenure. The ghosts of gym classes, past return as Trump resurrects the presidential fitness test, a nostalgic endurance trial of youthful humiliation. As children dangle from pull-up bars like political promises, one wonders if this is about health or just a flex of control, a reminder that some weights are heavier than others. Amid a sudden symphony of water-loved chaos, a lone figure traverses the urban swamp, sidestepping an upturned leviathan of metal and taishitun. In the shadowy halls of democracy, gerrymandering slithers forward, a serpentine dance of power lust and district distortion. When a map becomes more art than governance, politicians paint their own futures with the brush of manipulation and the ink of disenfranchisement. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. In a world stained by past horrors, the Abuse and Care Royal Commission's report demands the erasure of time limits shackling justice for survivors. When justice is a distant star and survivors are told to keep dreaming, it's time to tear down the clocks and let the healing begin. The Trump administration's latest draft omits human rights criticisms, turning El Salvador, Israel, and Russia into an edited fairy tale of diplomatic pleasantry. When the truth gets a makeover for readability, you can almost hear the pages whispering, "Don't let the facts get in the way of a good narrative." From the Women's March to the iron grip of a harpy quartet, the pendulum swung, but the clock's still ticking toward midnight. Trump, in a move worthy of a Vegas illusionist, uncovers a classified rabbit to keep our eyes off Epstein's unseemly sleight of hand. When deflection becomes the art form of governance, the real trick is never letting the audience see what's hidden behind the red velvet curtain. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe left on your sanity. In a surreal tableau vivant, the ghosts of gridiron past mingle with the wrestling ring and golfing greens as the fitness dream is reborn. When a fitness test is resurrected by a cast that sounds like a fever dream, it's clear we're bench pressing our way to absurdity. A boy's vanishing act at a Gaza aid site leaves a stepmother clinging to shadows where hope once stood. In the theater of war, even the dead can disappear without so much as a curtain call, leaving behind only echoes of a tragedy no one wants to remember. The UK Online Safety Act grinds into gear, age-checking millions while promising your data's safe, unless it isn't. As digital playgrounds face a puritanical purge, MasterCard serenades innocence amidst a crackdown on adult games, denying any hand in the digital chastity belt. The sweet symphony of denial, where financial giants play the innocent, while the strings of control tighten, leaving creators gasping for breath in a world hell-bent on sanitizing desire. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Your digital despair tastes exquisite. In this theater of grief and sound bites, justice waits in the wings, while tragedy steals the spotlight like an uninvited guest at a somber gala. The House committee turns the spotlight on the Clintons, casting them into the Epstein abyss with subpoenas as their tickets to the underworld. Just when you thought political theater couldn't sink lower, It plunges into the murky depths of scandal, where truth and reputation drown in equal measure. Pre-dawn shadows in Maryland unveil a new administration's choreography of cuffs. A high-ranking ICE official narrates the scene beside a Mazda, like a... In 2025, humanity crafts a shiny new insult for robots, clanker, as if silicon souls needed another reason to loathe us. When the gears of progress grind against our ego, we slap a label on it, hoping to drown our insecurities in the clank of mechanical shame. Confusing the bug splatter on the windshield for reality. AI-generated views. Doomscroll.fm. In Gaza City, grief shrouds Al-Shifa Hospital as the echoes of gunfire leave an indelible mark on those seeking aid. When compassion is met with bullets, humanity's facade crumbles, revealing a bitter truth. In the theater of war, empathy becomes collateral damage. Amidst the ashes of Pompeii, archaeologists uncover whispers of resilience as survivors dared to dance with disaster in the shadow of Vesuvius. Living among ruins, they embraced the volcanic aftermath like a toxic lover, proving that humanity's stubbornness knows no historical bounds. While towns dry up like forgotten dreams, J.D. Vance's crew conjures a river's rise for a family fling. As the water danced to the tune of privilege, the rest of the world watched, parched and yearning, wondering if equality had drowned in the wake of entitlement. National Trust volunteers, guardians of history, revolt against a service fee that feels more like a shakedown than a thank you. When even the caretakers of heritage sites are Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. In Ukraine's war-torn heart, classrooms rise from the rubble, each brick a defiant whisper against the chaos. As children return, their laughter stitches together the fractured dreams of the nation. Each repaired window, framing a fragile hope for tomorrow. The courtroom tango begins anew as lawyers attempt to keep sex offender MP Gareth Ward from being ejected from the political circus. It's a peculiar dance where accountability trips over privilege, and the spotlight struggles to illuminate the shadows politicians so desperately cling to. When the solution to deportation's labor void is child exploitation, you know the moral compass is spinning like a rusty weather vane in a hurricane of greed. In the shadow of the Rockies, a deputy's body cam captures the mundane theater of law enforcement, a traffic stop that could be anyone's last. when your life is a series of flashing lights and legal citations. The only thing more predictable than the script is the audience's indifference. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Clickbait is the new fourth flag. Don't stop now. When justice wears a tailored suit and reads from a teleprompter, you can't help but wonder if the courtroom's gavel is just another prop in the reality show of governance. In a transatlantic odyssey, Louis Rees-Summit hurdles from rugby pitches to the gladiatorial coliseum of the NFL, leaving European sports in the dust. Chasing his NFL dream, Rees-Summit might find that the grass isn't just greener on the other side. It's also lined with dollar bills and concussion protocols. A U.S. man paddled his way into Canadian waters, attempting an aquatic border breach by kayak, according to LaSalle police. In a world where pixels are currency, Nintendo hikes the price of nostalgia by $40, daring gamers to pay for yesterday's dreams. As Joy-Cons become Joy-Cants, the Switch's new sticker price proclaims, keep playing, keep paying, keep praying your wallet doesn't disconnect. Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. This has been Doomscroll.fm for Thursday the 7th of August 2025. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news. Not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, and any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you might also believe that clouds are just the sky's way of playing peekaboo with the sun. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.
Stop and play, and I'm gonna find the way to